Hello and welcome to this Labor Day edition of Long Island Legal. I am Patrick McCormick, partner at Campolo, Middleton and McCormick, a full-service law firm located in Suffolk County in Ronkonkoma at the entrance to MacArthur Airport. And we have a fully staffed office on Main Street in Bridgehampton. I'm happy today to have Richard Dormer with us. Richard Dormer is the former Suffolk County Police Commissioner, and he currently works with Arrow Security, one of the premier security and investigative firms located right here in Smithtown. Good morning, Mr. Dormer. Good to see you.
Good morning, Pat.
With Labor Day approaching, this is the time of year when schools are now opening. And I have children, and a lot of our viewers have children. And I always wonder about the safety of children, both at the bus stops, in school, and even after school. Do you find that to be a concern? And is there anything you can let our listeners know about what these children and families can do to help protect our kids?
Well, this is a concern. Anytime you let the kids out of your house, whether it's going to school or going to play, you worry about them. This seems to be a constant occupation of parents. I've gone through that. My kids are older now, but I remember letting the kids out of the house to go to the bus stop. You worry about them. Are they going to be okay? Is somebody going to pass the stop school bus? Are they going to get run over? And then when they get to school, you worry a little bit about school safety. Although I have to say, Pat, safety of our children in our schools in Long Island is outstanding. Our educators do a great job. They work closely with the police departments, and a lot of them have hired, retired cops, and actually patrol in the schools in soft clothes. But they, give that extra safety and security for the students and also for the parents.
That's great to hear. And you mentioned, let's talk about the bus stop. And I believe when buses stop and they flip that stop sign out, what's the rule in terms of cars passing the bus? Can they? Is it? What's the rule?
Look, the buses, before they pull up, the driver will start flashing the lights. Okay. Actually, some yards back, they will put the yellow warning lights on, which tells motorists that we're going to come to a full stop. It's almost like the stoplight at the intersection, where you get yellow first, then you get red. So motorists have to be aware of that this bus is going to stop. So they should slow down, okay? The bus stops, the red lights are on, the bus stops, the arm goes out, and if the kids are on the side, they shouldn't move to the bus till it makes a complete stop. Okay. They should look twice for their safety, both ways, and then head towards the bus. If parents are with them, they should hold the kids back till the bus stops. Don't let them move out on the roadway while the bus is, still moving. Common sense. I think most parents will buy into that. But motorists out there, inattention, they're in a hurry to get to work. They're not, they're not obeying the law. Very, very critical if they pass a stopped school bus. It's points on your license, but the major issue is that you're endangering kids.
And if you're dealing with a stop school bus on a, let's call it divided highway, 2 lanes on one side, 2 lanes on the other side, when that school bus stops on, one side of the road, the cars on the other side of the road, even the far lane on the other side of the road, they must stop also, correct?
They're required to stop under the vehicle and traffic law. Pat, I can tell you from personal experience, they don't do that. Right. A perfect example is Deer Park Avenue, where there's a grass margin between the 2 lanes on both sides. And the school bus stops on, we'll say, the east side. And the west side continues south. The law requires that they stop.
In spite of the median, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. That's the state law. And, people should follow the law.
Of course. Now, and I tell my daughters, and my youngest daughter now is 13, when she goes to the bus stop, if she happens to be there alone, and it's rare that she's there alone, we've taught her the stranger danger and don't engage with someone you don't know. Do you have any, other than those simplistic things, do you have any advice for parents in terms of what they can tell their kids when they're at the bus stops to be safe?
Well, the thing is that they don't stand in the roadway, stand off the roadway, up on the curb, on the grassy margin, waiting for the bus. If a car approaches, somebody tries to entice them into the vehicle or give them a lift or something like that, or just somebody stops, ignore it. If they can, get the plate number, because that's what the police need when they follow up on that. And, you know, the kids have cell phones now. They can take a picture of the car.
Sure.
They can take a picture of the person. And so whip their cell phone out. In fact, the kids, if they're 13 years old, they got the cell phone in their hand.
That's true.
So they can take a picture of this potential stalker, a bad guy, and you know, show it to the police, and then alert the school. When they get to school, alert somebody in the school. A lot of kids don't do that. They don't want to cause a commotion. They don't want to stand out. They don't want to tattle. They may not think it's important. Well, it may be important. We may have somebody that is now trying to entice kids into their car. So we should alert the community that this is occurring.
So I should be telling my daughter, you know, if she sees anything, you know, out of the ordinary, a car pulling up, slowing down, that it's important for her to notify somebody at the school. And that could be a teacher or the principal.
Exactly, yeah. They don't have to call the police, and they should let their parents know. And then appropriate action will be taken. An alert will be put out by the principal, by the superintendent, and it'll go to all the parents. Look, if a 13-year-old boy or girl is standing on the side of the road, a motorist should not be pulling up to talk to them. If they want directions, get it from somebody else. Don't pull up beside, next to a student. That's not appropriate.
And now once the student gets to school, and assuming they've gotten there safely, there's been no issues at the bus stop. We've seen it countless times, unfortunately, people who shouldn't be getting into school buildings getting in. Is there anything that either parents or the students should be thinking about in terms of safety when they're in the school building itself, and how they can be proactive, to protect themselves from possible danger?
Well, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the schools have really tightened up security since Columbine, which was back in 1999. Time moves on, and then we had the Connecticut Newtown school disaster. Terrible. That was in-house type of thing.
Right.
The kids, by the way, when we look at the history of these two events, there was leakage from the perpetrators over time, and nobody picked up on the signals. The kids know this stuff in the schools. The social media network is tremendous, so they know if somebody is planning something. They should say something. They should say something to a teacher. They should say something to their parents about, look, this is what I saw. It's not being a rat. It's not tattling. It's keeping people safe.
Right, so
it's not getting people in trouble. If they think about it that way, it's keeping people safe. And the schools should emphasize this, because the kids will know before the teachers know and before the parents know.
So no matter how innocent it seems, if the child or the student believes that something may not be quite right, there's someone at the school that they should be advising and letting know about this.
If it doesn't feel right, say something. And as far as the schools, I mean, parents can't just walk into the schools anymore. They got to sign in, which is appropriate.
Yep.
Nobody should be allowed to walk into a high school, junior high, or an elementary school without first checking in at the security at the desk.
Right.
And, do they have authorization to be in there? I mean, but that is really pretty tight on the schools in Long Island. The other thing that I would emphasize, Pat, and to the audience, is that working with local law enforcement is very, very important. The School Resource Officer Program, which we implemented in Suffolk County when I was police commissioner, where an officer would be assigned to a school and would mingle with staff, students, build up a rapport with them. Not an enforcement type of operation, but a mentoring type of operation.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't learn about that program until my oldest daughter, who's now a sophomore in college, was a senior in high school, and there was before the prom, that police officer who was assigned to the school, gave a program about safety at the prom, etc. So it's obviously there, and my daughter knew about it, but I didn't know about it. It seems to me that that could be more publicized and more widely known for parents to know. But I'm glad that that's in place. In terms of me, a driver, someone who's driving through Smithtown, past schools all the time. I think you'd mentioned earlier to me today before we went on that the AAA has come up with some guidelines for safety for drivers. What are those?
Well, if I may, for our audience, Pat, the AAA has the following recommendations, which I think are very important now that the schools are going to open. Slow down. Speed limits in school zones are reduced for a reason. Mm-hmm. Kids can run out across the roadway. They might be playing near the school grounds. And for every 10 miles per hour faster that a car is going, you end up with more serious injuries if a child is struck. Number two, come to a complete stop. We see this as we drive around Suffolk County. People roll through the stop signs. They give a quick glance, and I'm assuming they're looking to see if there's a car coming or if there's a cop around.
Right.
Okay, and then when I see that, I'm saying, where the hell is the police car, right? I want a cop to stop them. Complete stop, look twice, be safe. Eliminate distractions. When we talk about this, Pat, the cell phones, texting, dialing on your cell phone, okay, deadly. You take your eyes off the road for 2 seconds. You don't know what's happening in front of you. And so we tell people all the time, and AAA says that you never know a child is going to run out from between parked cars. Right. And you're on a cell phone or you're not paying attention. The reverse responsibility. Everybody's got an SUV today. Mm-hmm. Every mom, you pull up to a school today or next week when the moms are dropping the kids off, SUVs. Yep. There's a blind spot with these vehicles. You got to be careful backing up with youngsters. Youngsters dart around, they're not paying attention, they're walking behind the vehicle, they're near the wheels. All you need is a disaster like that. And we've read about things like that.
Now, just on that note, just as an aside, one of my neighbors is a retired Suffolk County police officer, and she always backs her car into her driveway. And I never understood it. And I asked her, why do you do that? And her response, she looked at me as if, how could I be so silly not to know, was backing out of the driveway is dangerous. There's kids around, you can't see, there's blind spots, and if you're pulling out straight, it makes it safer.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Many years ago when I was a young sergeant, I worked in highway patrol. Mm-hmm. My commander was Harry Babb. Okay. He's passed on now. But Harry Babb had an order and a directive out to all our police officers in highway. You back the vehicle in. Right. And safety was the reason for that. Or if you had to leave quickly on an assignment, you just drove out. Highway Patrol in Suffolk County continues to adhere to that rule.
And it seems to be a very simple and good one.
It makes sense. Watch out for bicycles. Kids on bikes today, okay? Well, we know what kids are like. They may not be paying attention, they're not mature yet, and so you never know when they're going to turn in front of you on the roadway. Cross over, they can't estimate the speed of cars. We tell the vehicles, and the AAA recommends that one of the things is that you slow down, especially during the school hours. Kids after 3 p.m. are walking home from school or on their bike coming home. Mm-hmm. And so, again, we tell everybody, I know they're in a hurry, and that includes moms and dads that may have kids. This is for everybody. Slow down. Right. Speed still kills.
Right. And you never know where those kids are going to come from on the bike, or like you said, darting between cars.
Exactly, exactly. So you have to anticipate that as you're driving down the roadway, anywhere near a school. You should be aware that there may be kids, coming out of nowhere.
That's very good advice. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Pat.
hopefully, we've all learned something in terms of safety given this upcoming Labor Day weekend and school commencing next week. I know I certainly have. We appreciate our viewers. Thank you very much for educating us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Until next time.